I'm James Bonsall, and I've been blessed over the past 3.5 years to serve as one of your at-large members on Norwood City Council. It's been an interesting time, but I do want to talk about a few accomplishments and about the current financial situation in the city. For those that don't know me, I've been married to my wonderful wife, Brittany, for 6 years. We have a 6-month-old son named Noah. We live on Mills Avenue across from Vineyard Central Church. My wife and I and our business partners co-own over 90 apartment units around the area. We take pride in providing safe, quality housing and in improving the neighborhoods we are a part of. After the last election, the council majority picked me to be the chair of the Finance Committee. As chair of finance, I worked with council and the city administration to ensure that we put nearly $3 million into streets over the 5-year period of the plan. We also planned for millions of dollars in other improvements for public safety vehicles, parks equipment, building upgrades, and infrastructure improvements. I've also had the opportunity to ensure the city received $400,000 in SAFER grant funding that would have gone to another community. I also want to take a moment to talk about some of the biggest drivers of spending and what this council has done about it. I get asked all the time, where does the money go? Why aren't the streets being paved? Why do the parks look as bad as they do? Norwood is one of the only cities in Ohio that has mandatory staffing provisions in their police and fire contracts. These provisions do two things. First, they set the total number of employees in both departments and an exact count for each rank. For example, the police contract states that there are 6 lieutenants and 8 sergeants. Almost no other department in Ohio our size has so many leadership positions as we do. However, to change it and put more officers back on the street, or bring our complement more in line with regional norms, we have to have the cooperation of the union. I'm confident that with a new mayor, there will be new opportunities to make this happen for the benefit of our residents. The other provision in our contracts are minimum manpower clauses. These clauses ensure that there is a minimum number of people on any one shift. For example, it's currently 11 for fire. The administration can staff it higher, but that is just the minimum. We usually don't staff it higher though, because 11 is already more than any comparable city our size. Norwood also has the benefit of having mutual aid available close by for the big ones, with 5 City of Cincinnati firehouses within a mile or so of our city limits and the St. Bernard Fire Station. When we call for help, the tones drop there quickly and a squadron of assistants shows up. In most other cities, both of these, the complement and the minimum manpower, are usually management rights. One of the big reasons why we constantly have financial issues in the city is because the city has to beg the unions to reduce the staffing numbers when tax revenue goes down. The unions don't want to reduce the numbers permanently and sometimes give the city a small reprieve, but usually in the contract back where it started, so that it remains the base for the next contract negotiations. This is problematic though, because the financial health of our city should be in the hands of the elected officials, not the unions. Basically, elected officials have to figure out how to make cuts to account for variations in tax revenue from only 30% of the city's budget. This is why in recent years we constantly see less service from the city. Furthermore, when we actually do see rising revenues, we rarely see the positions or services added back that were cut. Usually we see consternation from certain unions that they had to suffer and that they deserve more. Then they either get new stuff added to their contract or have a mayor and council who is willing to make sure they get what they want, or who gives away costly rights and benefits without realizing the long-term implications. This has led to constantly growing percentages of our general fund for both fire and police, from around 15% each when Rick Detmer was around to now over 30% each of the city's budget. However, in the past 18 months, the City and Financial Recovery Commission have approved financial recovery plans that do not fully comply with these expired police and fire contracts. This, along with one-time changes, have allowed the city to go from a $1 million negative general fund balance to a $3 million positive general fund balance. Unfortunately, this could all change. The city is facing actions from the unions to try to force us to hire more people than the city can afford. The auditor, Jim Stith, has costed out what it would look like to do everything the unions want us to do, and we would have to eliminate our entire capital improvements plan, plus still be millions of dollars in the hole by 2023. It's just not sustainable. The city has made significant financial progress, though, in other areas. This council, over multiple contentious votes, approved a new retirement benefit plan that replaces our retirement health care plan that employees who started prior to 1975 and then retired, recovered under. The old plan had escalating costs and almost no transparency into how the funds were being spent. It was unacceptable. The new plan is much simpler, more transparent, and will cap our future costs. We were estimating nearly $1 million a year in spending in this area for the foreseeable future. However, with the new plan, it's going to be around $500,000 to start, and it'll continue to go down. In the street fund, past councils for many years have been spending our $600,000 street fund revenue, the bulk of which comes from gas taxes, on public works employees that sometimes work on streets and sometimes did other things, on road salt, and on streetlights. When I took over as finance chair, we worked to move those expenses out of the street fund and into the general fund where they belong. That's freed up nearly $3 million over the financial plan period for street repaving. Section Avenue was recently done entirely with street fund money since we weren't eligible for grants, and that is something that hasn't been done in a long time. I'm also proud of supporting a new contract with Norwood Community Television that provides them a much more reliable funding stream for the foreseeable future. Tyler, Steve, and Mary do amazing work, and we want to thank them and thank the school district for their continued support of NCT. And I hope that the city and school district can continue to work together to keep this community treasure on the air. Citizen engagement seems to be at an all-time high in Norwood. I've been honored to work with the Norwood Quality of Life teams down Norwood together to participate in their citizen-led initiatives to improve our city. We now need that energy to be welcomed at City Hall, not pushed aside by some amid conspiracy theories and negative attitudes. This is one of the most consequential elections in recent memory. I, as one of your council at large members, will keep fighting to hold the line and protect our capital improvement funds. With a new mayor, a new president of council, and some new council members, I believe steady leadership on council is needed. On November 5th, or before, I ask for your vote to keep working to be your voice for responsible government.